This is the Tristan Law Show. If it's your first time here, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. I'm Tristan Law, semi-retired pro wrestler, and today I'm your host. Let me ask you a question. What does Hulk Hogan, John Cena, and The Rock have in common? You don't know? I'll tell you. They've all been booed, but clearly there's a problem with this whole thing because one of them, they don't understand why. All right, let's set the table. Thanks so much for joining me. Let's rewind early to this year. Hogan was at Netflix in LA for the Raw premiere, and pretty much he did an interview recently with Ariel Helwani, and it was him and Eric Bischoff, and they were asking questions about that real pro wrestling, that shoot wrestling thing that they're doing, the kind of Olympic style wrestling, but that's not what we're here today. It was a question. Helwani took a portion of the segment to ask Hogan about people that ride with him or don't ride with him, and I asked you in the thing as well too, in the poll, do you ride with Hogan? Do you ride against Hogan? That's what we're going to be talking about today. So he asked Hogan a couple questions about, what people say about him. And I watched the whole thing and I started banging my head against the table. That's why I have this little scar right here. No, that's not why I really have the scar. Because I jumped off of the stairs when I was in 8th grade and busted myself open, 7th grade and busted myself open. But either way, I should have been banging my head against the table because when I listened to what Hulk Hogan said, I couldn't even understand what was going on. Let me make this clear. This is not a hit piece on Hulk Hogan. I am a semi-retired pro wrestler, and even though I may not ride with Hulk Hogan, I respect Hulk Hogan's contributions that he's made to the professional wrestling business. I do not believe without Hulk Hogan that pro wrestling would be the way that it is today. So I just want to let you know that. This is going to be a real conversation, however, about Hulk Hogan and his legacy, his fan perception, and his growth. So what we're going to do is we're going to break down exactly what Hulk Hogan said and why I rolled my eyes the second he opened his mouth. We're going to have a lot of clips today from Ariel Helwani's interview with him. And also in the description, I left a link to the full interview so that you can go ahead and take a look at that if you pose yourself interested. But Ariel asks Hogan, how does he feel directly about the boos? You want to hear what Hogan said? Let me show you. No, everything happens when it's live. All right, we're going to try that again. That's why I love being live. It's all about the anxiety. I've had anxiety all day. We're gonna run that one back again. Hogan was asked by Ariel Helwani, how does he feel about the boos? And this was his response.
Well, they're still nipping at my heels. I can go out there and get booed. As that's the last time I was in LA. I was Hollywood Hogan with a black beard and doing the bad guy thing. I can go out there and get booed in LA, or The Rock can get booed in LA, or John Cena gets booed in LA. But when I get booed, there's a whole different reaction media-wise.
All right, so here's the thing for me. Makes me want to punch myself in the face. Oh, wait, we got a comment that says that they can't hear. Let me just double check that audio again to make sure that you can hear it. Because I definitely want to comment on that because Hogan's comparing himself, comparing his boos that he's getting to Hogan. I mean, to just double check that audio to John Cena and The Rock. John Cena and The Rock are getting booed for different reasons. Hulk Hogan as a character, he hasn't been a heel in so long in pro wrestling that nobody even cares, right? The line that he said that people are still nipping at his heels, like we are annoying. Thank you so much, Awesome Sauce, for joining us. Thank you very much. Hogan is saying that people are nipping at his heels. Hogan, people are not annoying you. People are talking about the stuff that you've said in your personal life. Like Hogan is taking the attention that he's getting, the negative attention right now, and he's seeing it as admiration. Hogan is still looking at his personal life as pro wrestling. Like I don't think that Hogan can see where the lines are blurred. That Hulk Hogan and Terry Bollea are two different people. He's probably been Hogan for so long that the lines are just so damn blurred that he can't tell who is who. In pro wrestling, I love when people boo me. I love the negative attention because that's the character that I'm playing. But Hogan, we're talking about you as a man, as a person. You know, it just feels so out of touch in 2025 with everything that's going on with Hogan. It's like, come on, bro. You know what you did. And it's just like you live on another planet. Like he's gaslighting everybody to feel like what we're experiencing is not true. But it's true because there's the proof on it. But here's the real issue. It's not that fans are booing, right? It's okay to boo. The issue is why are they booing? And Hogan, your boos are not in the same category as John Cena, as The Rock, as MJF, or any other heel that you can put on television right now. No. I'm laughing because I saw Awesome Sauce message in the chat. He said that Hogan says that he said that he'd rather be booed than forgotten. Look, I get it. I understand. If you're going to boo, I'd rather boo Hogan as the wrestler. Like I said, semi-retired pro wrestler Tristan Law. I'm your host. If it wasn't for Hulk Hogan, I'd be 100% honest. I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now. Not talking about this episode, but wrestling in general. It wouldn't have been popular. It wouldn't have been popular enough that I walked in the room and saw my grandfather watching pro wrestling and became enamored about what it is. But I'm talking about Hogan, the man. Further in that interview, Ariel Helwani, he presses Hogan about, booing the character or booing the person. He says, are they booing the character or are they booing you? Look at this.
Okay, so after that, you didn't view that as some sort of like indictment on the state of your career, how people feel about you. You felt like they were just booing the character?
Oh, no. All the above. There are certain people that, boo the character.
It's not about the character. It's not about the character. It's about you as a person, Hogan. That's what it's about. It's about you as a person. Nobody's booing the character. The character hasn't done anything since Jesus was a child in order for you to get booed. John Cena is booed in the ring because he's a heel. And we don't like that way he did to Cody Rhodes. The Rock is booed. Well, okay, maybe The Rock is booed a little bit more because he came in, did the whole WrestleMania 41 buildup and never even showed up to WrestleMania 41, right? But Hogan, you're being booed because of the scandals that affect how fans perceive you, Hulk Hogan, not how you are perceived in the pro wrestling ring. It is about the man and not the character. Hogan was not allegedly. He was caught saying racist comments, saying that he would never let his daughter date an N-word, right? Y'all know what the N-word I'm talking about, okay? Don't type it in the chat. Don't say it. We're just going to move on. Hogan was in an interview with ABC7 or whoever it was, right? Dateline, whoever. And Hogan said that something that we talk about when I was younger. It was a joke between me and my friends. We just throw that word around. When Hogan was growing up, it was in the 1960s. In the 1960s, those weren't just words that you threw around because they were still in the civil rights movement. So Hogan, anybody that you were joking around with that back in the 60s, in the late 50s and the 60s, they look just like you, Hogan. They don't look like me. So what you're saying, that doesn't make it okay. Oh, yeah, it's like saying, oh, yeah, I can say something racist about Chinese people, and then I could say, oh, well, you know what? I got a Chinese friend. It's okay. No, it's not okay. It's not okay. Instead of Hogan apologizing, all them years ago, I said, you know what? My bad. God, I know it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon. I shouldn't be cussing. I'm going to drop one cuss word in there. Instead of Hogan just saying, you know what? I fucked up. Hogan is doubling down, saying that, you know what? He's gaslighting people to making us believe that what we're seeing is not what we're believing. Let me go to the chat. Michael Craven says that Hogan in some ways made wrestling. Yes, I'm going to give you a hand clap for that. Because that is not a falsification of what's actually happening. It's 100% true. Because like I say all the time, I respect Hogan for what he did in the ring. For the body slam heard around the world. For being the third man in the NWO. I respect Hogan, the character, for the TV show he used to have on VH1. I love that. I respect Hogan for the show that he made when he tried to take celebrities and turn them into pro wrestlers. I even respect Hogan for trying to make TNA competitive with WWE, but I don't respect Hogan for what he's done outside the ring. Hogan said that at the Netflix premiere, it was because of his red and black. That's why people were booing him. You know what? Let me play that first clip again. Because look, I don't want anybody to say, as the kids would say, that I'm capping. Because I'm not capping. I'm telling the truth. I got the facts. I keep the receipts. Look at this first clip again and watch. And I'm going to prove to you that Hogan is not telling the truth. Watch.
Well, they're still nipping at my heels. I can go out there and get booed. As Stash, the last time I was in LA, I was Hollywood Hogan with a black beard and doing the bad guy thing. I can go out there and get booed in LA, or The Rock can get booed in LA, or John Cena gets booed in LA. But when I get booed, there's a whole different reaction media-wise.
Look, Hogan says that the last time that he was in LA, they were booing him because he was Hollywood Hogan. Let me tell you what the lie detector test said. It's a lie. Look at Hogan right here in the Netflix Gets Raw shirt with the mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart behind him. When else would they have ever had the opportunity to take that photo if it was not the premiere of Raw on Netflix, huh? Am I crazy? Am I bugging? Look, Hogan's a liar. He's a liar. He's capping. He don't tell the truth. Instead of just saying, you know what? My bad. He goes on this weak apology tour. He goes around saying that, all the wrestlers in WWE, they all got, an opinion on him. Yeah, we have an opinion, bro. We just want you to say, you know what? I messed up. You know what? It's a word that slipped out of my mouth. I said it out of anger. Let me go into the black community and let me go ahead and help them. But instead of helping them, what you're doing is you're doubling down to make it be like, no, it was okay what you said. Listen to me, Hogan. Whatever you say around your friends in y'all circle and y'all think it's okay, I guess that doesn't really make it okay, but you know what? It's okay. But it came out into the public to people that are not in your circle. So you got to put your tail between your legs and say, you know what? My bad, I messed up. Let me go to the comments. Awesome Sauce says that. Now let me go to Rocky Whitaker. I didn't read it. Bro, you need to quit being such a victim. Everything you're spewing right now is complete nonsense. A word only triggers if you let it trigger. Okay, you know what? The thing about the Tristan Law show is that I allow everybody to have an opinion, and your opinion is valid. That's how you feel. That's how you feel. It's not about the word, though. It's about the fact that he hasn't taken accountability for it. It's the fact that he hasn't came on and said, you know what, I messed up. It's the fact that Hogan hasn't come on and said, you know what, that's something I shouldn't have said. But you're doubling down and trying to bamboozle me, flim-flam me, and scam me to make me feel like it didn't happen. That's what I'm torn up about. That's why when I see real American beer, I say no. I don't drink real American beer. You know why? Because of the stuff you say, it's not real American. Because America is a melting pot of all different kind of people. Yeah, we might not all like each other because we all voted for different people. But you know what? It doesn't mean that we have to hate each other. And you know what? I'm so amped up, didn't even turn on the blue lights. Let me turn on the blue lights. Now the blue lights are on. Now the Tristan Law show has started. Let's see what they're saying. Awesome Sauce says, one thing I'll say about wrestling fans, them booing Hogan and cheering for Vince the weeks after the NDAs and Janelle Grant stuff along with the Rita Jan and stuff is hypocritical. I'm defending Hogan. I'm not defending Hogan, but there needs to be a double standard, Tristan. You're right. You're right. You know what? To prove it, I'm going to give you a hand clap. But I'm going to elaborate on what you said a little bit. It was kind of a double standard, but I think it's still two different things. Let me explain why. Vince McMahon the text messages that came out, well, we don't know if any of the core things are true outside of the text messages. And I said it before, and I think I had an episode about this a couple months ago. The only thing I can say about Vince McMahon is that he's freaky. He's a freaky person. However, I don't agree that if he is taking things from people or making people do things that they don't want to do in the bedroom, I think that's wrong. It's dead wrong, right? But all we got about Vince McMahon was the text messages and the NDA. You know what? We don't really know the full crux of the NDA, right? We got to wait till everything plays out in court. But for Hogan, there's actual proof that he said it. He got recorded saying it, right? Hogan has gone on to tell multiple lies, and that's where we are sitting to today. Let's see. I think he's apologized. I listened to him on Booker T's show. But you know what? Maybe he did apologize, and I'm going to look that up, right? Because I love watching wrestling. Thank you so much, Awesome Sauce. Thank you so much. Even Rocky Whittaker, who said that I was being a victim. Thank you so much, everybody, for your comments today. I love the banter that we have going on in the chat. But we gotta keep it pushing. We gotta keep it pushing on what's going on here. Even though Hogan's apologized, everything that maybe he did apologize on Booker T. So we're gonna go say maybe he did. Allegedly, Hogan apologized, but based on that interview that he did with Ariel Helwani, I don't think that Hogan that he doesn't get it. Let me drop this clip for you real quick. Where's that clip at? I got another clip for you to take a look at. Is this the clip? Let's see if this is the clip.
Everybody was knocking me. Everybody was trying to knock me off that top spot. I'll trade that for not being on the bottom of the card, if you know what I'm saying, or being on the bottom of the pile of life.
Hogan, brother, from wrestler to wrestler. Granted, you may have main evented more WrestleManias that I've watched in my entire life. Maybe, Hogan, you've made more money off of wrestling than I have. But Hogan, let me tell you what the thing is. It's not about where you stand on the card. It's about who you are as a human being. Daniel Sim says that anyone who is defending Hogan on this has no problem saying that word themselves and is okay with racism. Damn. Such a hot topic today. Okay, Daniel, I agree. But here's why I disagree. Some people, they may not be okay with the racism, but they just don't understand. Some people like Rocky Whittaker, they may be looking at it like, well, what's the big deal? They may never have had, encounters where they walk into a store to spend their hard-earned money and people follow them around the store. They've never had an issue to where people look at them less as. Like, for example, I went to go buy a car one time, and they go, oh, well, let me put you in a cheaper car. No, I don't want the cheaper car because my credit is good enough, and I walked in here with enough money. Let me go ahead and let me buy this expensive car because that's what I want. They've never dealt with, not getting an opportunity because of the way that they looked. So maybe it's not that they're okay with it, it's that they just don't understand. Because they don't have the empathy, they've never lived a day in the shoes to what it's like to be in a world of racism. I'll tell you something. I got a hot take for you right now. Sometimes I wonder what it's like to be a white man. Because of all the stuff I got in my life as a black man, and when I walk through, people listen to me, I'm like, oh, you're the whitest black guy that I know because of the way that I talk, because I'm educated, because I got a couple college credits. To me, that's offensive. But sometimes I wonder what it's like. What would my life be like if I was a white guy? But I tell you this, I'm not willing to give away my Jamaican heritage. I'm a first generation American. My mother and my father are 100% Jamaican, and I'm a first generation American. I love oxtail, right? You got to suck the bone to make sure you know it's good. I love me some jerk chicken. I love rice and peas, right? I love porridge, and I love ackee and saltfish. Those are things that I like. So would I be willing to give that up to go try something else? Sometimes, even though I wonder what my life would be like, how people would perceive me, people just don't understand. What Hogan doesn't understand is that fame doesn't equal respect anymore. I acknowledge, again, what Hogan has done. I appreciate what he has done, but I don't respect him as a man. If I saw Hogan in the other side of the room, if Hogan walked into the studio right now, I would shake. First off, I would call the cops because I don't know how Hulk Hogan got in here. But the first thing I would do is I would shake Hogan's hand. Why would I shake Hogan's hand? Simple. Because I am appreciative for what Hogan has done to pro wrestling. Let's go to the chat. The chat's hot today. Michael Craven says, I'm not defending him. He said the thing that Hogan won't admit is when he's wrong. If Hogan just came in and said, you know what, I'm wrong, we could be like, all right, cool, no problem. We could all move in on this. But what Hogan does is that he comes in and he pretends like it didn't happen, like it's just going to go away because we didn't talk about it. Let's see what else. Okay, Awesome Sauce says, nah, he sold on the Rita chattered and stuff. Basically, he needed money to get out of that also. There's also Mike Tyson, Austin, Flair, and others who have cheered and harassed and beat women. That's my view. I'm not even mad at you, bruh. I don't like anybody that beats women. I don't have woman beaters in my circle. I don't, right? But even Hogan is, even Austin is one on record, and he's apologized for what he did, right? Said, you know, rough time in his life, the drinking and everything else going like that. It doesn't make it right? But what they say is that the apology is not for the person that you affected. It's for you, to help you move on. The apology shows that there's growth, right? And if you apologize and you don't do it again, it shows that there's growth. And I think that's what the whole thing with Hulk Hogan is, that it's lacking the growth. Let's see. Also, Hogan was chaired at Raw 30, and then Ric Flair Hogan stuff in the New York Mania where Becky was the main event. He's gotten chaired post 2015. Yes, you're right. He has gotten chaired post 2015, post everything happening. Yes, Hogan has gotten chaired. But the thing is that Hogan just doubles down on everything, and it's like he just doesn't get it, right? Because of the age of media and stuff that happened, it's just, you live forever in certain things and things don't go away. Somebody watching this video might be watching this video because they watched the video based on Hulk Hogan, or they might watch the Gawker report. It might show up in the algorithm for them, and they watch this and go, oh, wow. Hogan still doesn't take accountability for it. For me, it's the accountability piece. One of the biggest superpowers that we have as human being, one of them is accountability, to say, you know what? I messed up. Let me take my lashings for it. Not walk around and say, oh, well, you know what? I didn't do nothing wrong, or the people don't understand, or they're still nipping at my heels. No, Hogan, take that SHIT someplace else. And look, I want to thank everybody that's in the comments right now, because I want y'all to know, whether you ride with Hogan or you're against Hogan, look, I give you a place to have a voice. I wouldn't open up the chat if I didn't care about what you thought. Because you ride with Hogan doesn't mean I don't want you to come back. Because you ride with Hogan doesn't mean I think that you're a bad person, right? I just think that maybe, you know what, the people that ride with Hogan, they have either forgiven Hogan or they just don't get it. And either one, it's not bad. The thing with the Hogan hides behind, the haters going to hate instead of listening. That's a pro wrestling mentality, right? Like, oh, they're going to hate me. Like when I was a pro wrestler full time, I wanted people to slash my tires. I wanted people to wait for me outside the arena. You know why? Because that meant that I got them emotionally invested in what's going on. In real life, I'm probably the nicest person that you'll probably ever meet. We'll sit down, we'll share a meal, we'll break bread, we'll have a great time. That's how I operate in my friend circle. I will see a person out there begging for money on the street, and something that I will do is I will say, you know what? I'm not going to give you money, because of my money, you might go buy drugs with it or alcohol. I say, you hungry? Or if I see somebody, I go, you look like you're a little bit down in your luck. Would you like something to eat? The Tristan Law that you get in the pro wrestling ring is not the same Tristan Law that you get outside the pro wrestling ring. I'm a really nice person. I'm a great dad. I'm a great friend. I'm a great brother. I'm a great nephew. I'm a great everything. I try to be a really good person in life. So I'm not going to walk around in my regular life and do things to people or say things or have people affected by what I do. And then people, and it's like, the haters just going to hate. No, because we have to realize that this here, your mouth, it's powerful. And the things that you say and the things that you do as a person hurt people. And people have the PTSD and it lives in their mind forever. And they keep replaying it over and over and over and over. I have to be big enough to say, you know what? I messed up because I care about other people. Jim Milton said, don't disrespect Hogan, Tristan. He's a legend. Let me tell you something. That means you just got here, because anybody that knows me and has been watching this, I've made it perfectly clear. I'm not disrespecting Hogan. The problem isn't Hogan in the ring. The problem is who Hogan is outside the ring. The problem is the stuff that Hogan has said and done outside the ring. The way that he said the N-word on recording, that his daughter, he'll never let his daughter date an N-word when she was dating a basketball player. And then he goes on TV to try to repair it, but instead of repairing it, he makes it even worse by saying, oh yeah, it's just something that me and my friends said back in the day. Yep, because that makes it okay. You know what, Hogan? You get a hand clap for that, because that just makes it okay. Michael Craven says, honestly, I need to get right with God and start admitting the wrongs that he has done and come out and let me try again. Michael Craven says, honestly, I think needs to get right with God and start admitting to the wrongs he has done and come out and mean every word he says, because he has been known to be a liar. Oh, yeah. I'll tell you this. Hogan's a Christian. He got a little cross around his neck. He found God. Maybe he knows who God is. And you know what's the thing about being a human being? And I'm not making this religious or political. I'm just using this to bridge the conversation. The thing is that as a human beings, we're not perfect. We were never designed to be perfect. We are very flawed. We are very flawed. But what we do, even sitting on somebody's leather couch, right? A lot of us in our therapy, a lot of men don't go to therapy. I went to therapy because I wanted to be a better person, not only for me, but for my son and the people that are around me. I want to be a better person, right? Because there was a time that maybe the character Tristan Law and the man Tristan Law, they probably weren't really too much of an off person. But what I did was I worked on myself to make myself a much better person in the ecosystem of living in the world. So like maybe Hogan just needs to stop listening to whoever he listens to and go into the black community and say, you know what, people will celebrate Hogan if Hogan came into the black community right now, people would celebrate Hogan. Why? Because of what he did in the ring, because he's Hulk Hogan. At the end of the day, they're gonna look at him like, you know what, you're a piece of shit. Smoke 4 cases, I understand. You are right. He definitely effed up. I lost respect for him. Okay, so I'm going to ask you. Thank you so much for your comment. Smoke 4A or Smoke A. Maybe it's Smoke A. Smoke A, let me ask you this. What would it take for you to be right with Hogan? Would it be a simple apology? Let me know right now, whether anybody that is watching this live or on demand, what would it take for you to get right with Hogan? Do you think it would be an apology? Just type in yes for the apology or no for no apology, that the ship has already sailed. You know, I should set up another poll, but we're not going to do that. I want the chats. I want the messages. I want to see what it is that you have to write. In order for you to feel like you are right with Hogan, and Hogan, you have moved on past all the things that Hogan says. Do you want accountability? Yes. Or, just put yes in the chat. Or do you feel like that ship has already sailed for Hogan? Let's see what else we got. Also, guys like Virgil, Kamala, Coco Beware, Coco Beware, Tony Atlas, Rocky. I got a story about Tony Atlas. Rocky Johnson, The Rock, Tiny Lister, Mr. T, Alan Coolidge, Harlem Heat all said Hogan was the gentleman. I trust his peers over MVP and Mark Henry. Look, I'm not doubting that either. He might have been a gentleman, right? Because Hogan didn't say what he said around people that look like Coco Beware, Tony Atlas, Rocky Johnson, The Rock, Tiny Lister, Mr. T, Alan Coolidge, Harlem Heat. What he said it was around somebody that looks like him. He said it around his daughter and didn't know that he was being recorded. That's where the issue is, right? It's not saying that I am not saying that Hogan didn't say what he said because he was angry, but that doesn't make it okay. I'm not saying that Hogan didn't say what he said because of whatever the situation was at the time, he was emotionally charged. You need to repent from that and come back and say, you know what, I messed up. I shouldn't have said those things. Let's see, what are the thoughts on Tessa Blanchard still being booed after apologizing to La Rosa, the woman she said racist comments towards, and is working with black talent now and has zero problems in TNA? Very good question. I think that the issue when it comes to Tessa Blanchard, we're going to talk about her real quick and keep it pushing. The thing with Tessa Blanchard is I think that the scars are still too new for her. I think at the Band-Aid is off, the scar is there and it's healing. She was gone long enough. She went to go on and do wrestling and things like that. And I feel like if what never happened with her, she would have definitely been in the WWE where she belongs. But you know what? They can't touch her because she's still too messy. It might take a couple of years for everybody to look past what she's done. But you know what? As it's for the apology, and she's moved forward. And if she's moving forward as a person and trying to be a better person, I can't fault you. I can't fault anybody that's trying to be a better person in life because that's all we could do, right? Because there's no handbook on life. You know when you buy that, that new that new gadget and you don't know how it works, you open up the manual and you look in the manual to try to figure out how the thing works. We don't have one of those with our lives. So we make a lot of mistakes trying to make it work. And as long as you go, oh, damn, I made a mistake. Let me not make that again. But if we keep making the same exact mistakes, we keep going back and making the same exact lies, it shows that you're not really a good person or you just don't care about what other people think about you. The thing, though, about today's generation, we were talking earlier about the 2015, about how people cheered Hogan at WrestleMania and stuff like that. Me personally, I never really thought Hogan was a great wrestler. I thought he was very charismatic. Like I said, I appreciate what he did with that charisma that he did. Hogan only had 5 or 6 moves. But in this generation here, this isn't the Coliseum video generation. This isn't the tape trading generation. This is the social media generation, and everybody has a receipt. Everything that I do and I say on this camera, somebody somewhere is saying that, I'm going to save this as a receipt because you never know when this is going to come back to try to bite me in the behind for what I'm doing. But I tell you this goes beyond Hogan. This speaks to how wrestling and fans have all evolved in 2025. What does this say about wrestling fans in 2025? Look, I got another clip. Let me show you this clip. Still about Hogan. We're talking about Hogan who still blames the fans and not himself. Look at this other clip, and we're going to dissect this as well, too.
So it's a double-edged sword with me, and it's always been that way. It's part of the character. It's part of, me personally. It's part of my professional life. It's part of my personal life. It's all the above. I mean, and at the end of the day, I'm just like an old scarred-up seal with a bunch of scars on me.
It's another clip from the Ariel Helwani interview. If you want to see the full interview, go ahead and click the link in the description once you're done here. But look, it's still, it's not real to Hogan. Hogan doesn't understand where kayfabe starts and where the shoot starts, right? Kayfabe matters less than character, real life character. What we want to know is who. It's not about the character, Hogan. It's about who you are. It's about the things that you've done. Social media dissolved the wall between wrestlers and fans. Around 09, 010, wrestlers stopped being more of the kayfabe. Now wrestlers had social media as well too. The restaurants that they like to eat at. What their wives look like, what their kids look like. The towns that they live in, maybe the cars that they drive. So it's like that blurred line isn't really blurred so much, all because of social media. And I don't think that Hogan has grown to understand because he's 71 years old, and they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Look, even icons got to get checked, right? No matter who you are, if you behave badly, you need to get checked. When I behave badly, I keep people in my circle of friends that when I do something wrong, they say, yo, Tris, you messed up. Yo, Tris, you didn't handle that right. I don't keep people around me that put the battery in my back to make me feel like that I'm always right because I'm not always right. Hogan's scandals, though, they aren't ancient history to fans. They're the scandals with Hogan, it's just proof that legends are not exempt. Yes, Hogan is a legend. Yes, he's done great things in wrestling, but he's not tax exempt from his bad behavior. Yeah. Let's see. Awesome Sauce says, I never cared for the moves. Hogan connected with the crowd and the people that paid to see him. Wrestling's a work. Only thing real is the money and the miles. Brother, you sound like a wrestler. You sound like a fellow wrestler. Do I know you, Awesome Sauce? Do I know who you are? Because that's something a wrestler would have said. And you're 100% right. You're 100% right. Let's see what else we got in there. Mike Hawkin Long said most wrestlers hate him. And all the fans hate him. I want to say this, though. I don't want to say I hate Hulk Hogan. You know why I can't say that I hate Hulk Hogan? Because I never loved him. You can't hate nobody that you never loved, and you can't hate nobody that you don't know. But I'll tell you this, I do have a strong dislike for the things that he's done. And yo, if you want to copy yourself a Tristan Law Show t-shirt, make sure you check the link in the description. I got a link in the description. Got the merch store open. Go ahead and check it out. You might like something. And if you do get something, what I want you to do is take a picture of it and tag me or send me the email to tristanlawshowmedia@gmail.com. Or if you just want to chat, you just want to have something you want to say about the show, go ahead and send an email to that as well too. But if you buy something from the merch store, and you take a picture and you send it to me, I'm going to post it on social media because it definitely shows that the community is growing. Let's go back to the chat. I hate Hogan. I thought he kept it, but nope, that's Mike Hawkins Long. Awesome Sauce says, no, he's not a wrestler that's been a fan from 84. Well, you've probably been a fan 1 year longer than I was born. Ron Riffle, DEI certified, says they're woke and weak. Okay. Awesome Sauce says, again, at the end of the day, it's up to fans if they want to cancel Hogan. People can't say he's not relevant, but trending after a 2-minute YouTube video overall and has 3 million views. The NWO trailer. You're right. You're right. Hogan is relevant. You know why Hogan is relevant? Because I'm talking about him right now. It's not the positive publicity that Hogan should be getting. It's that I'm saying, oh my God, Hogan is opening that Real Wrestling Federation thing. And let me tell you, I think that's going to be the shits. I can't wait to see it. I'm going to watch. I want to see what it is. But you know what? Hogan is relevant right now. I'm talking about him. I wouldn't be talking about Hogan if he's not relevant, but I want to talk about Hogan in a good light. I want to give Hogan his flowers, and every time I come in here and talk about the stuff that Hogan's do, I always set this preface. I'm talking about Hogan as the man, not the wrestler. So now the big question. Can Hogan ever come back from this? What would actual redemption even look like? Well, I don't know what actual redemption would look like. You know, like win, lose, or draw on Hogan's tombstone, right? Because we are all destined to go back to the hole, to go into the grave. That's what we're destined to do. And I don't have any doubt on my mind. That's what's going to be inscribed on Hogan's tombstone is greatest wrestler ever. One of the greatest wrestlers of all time. His wrestling may not have been great, but in the body of wrestling, Hogan did some great stuff. Before John Cena, his was the heel turn. His heel turn was the heel turn around the world. Now people put him in the same category with John Cena. John Cena in the same category with Hogan. Hogan took WrestleMania at WWE and put it on his back. Hogan set the standard for what it meant to be the WWE champion. That you traveled around, you were on TV. That has been done by Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's been done by The Rock. That's been done by John Cena. That's been done by Cody Rhodes. It's going to say greatest wrestler of all time. But what does redemption look like? Hogan's going to have to work, man. He's going to have to work. But let me play another clip from that Ariel Helwani interview, and then we're going to dissect that.
And I'm really relatable to most normal people because a lot of people have been through a lot of stuff I have professionally. A lot of people have made not the same mistakes, but personally made mistakes. And I'm still relatable to so many people. If they boo me, fine. If they're on the team lead, that's great too. So not hating on anybody, brother.
You're not relatable to normal people, Hogan. If you're not really, I think I'm a normal person. I think anybody that watches the Tristan Law Show and subscribes is a normal person. I don't think that anybody that watches is abnormal, but maybe it's the communities, the people around Hogan that probably feel like he is like that. They probably just like him. They're probably like-minded people like him. Bro, it's not a PR tour. It's a real. He needs to do a real one-on-one interview when nothing is off limits. But you know what? Maybe it's too gone that nobody cares. You know what? I set the table. And you know what? Hogan may never see this. Nobody may ever send it to Hogan. But what I want to do is I would love to have Hulk Hogan on the Tristan Law Show where I can talk to him one-on-one and say, you know what, brother? Let's talk about what happened. I want to play the clips. I want to hear from his voice. And maybe by the end of that episode, I can say, you know what? Maybe there's a little bit of redemption in that man. Maybe. Because he's willing to take some kind of accountability. Because I'm not going to be like anybody else that's going to kiss Hulk Hogan's ass. Because of all the things I've said about Hulk Hogan, about what he's done, you know what? I want to hold his feet to the fire. I want to ask Hogan, do you take accountability for anything that you've said? Is there any kind of growth? How will you grow? How will you be better? So you know what? It's not going to be a PR thing, but it needs to be a one-on-one interview where nothing is off limits, and I can keep it professional. Hogan, if you ever stumble upon this, I would love to have you on the Tristan Law Show. Let's see what we got. Mike Hawks Long says people see him as a dishonest racist now. You know why people see Hogan as a dishonest racist? Because he's behaved badly for so long and hasn't even said, you know what, my bad. And he lies. That's a whole other episode that I made. It's called Lying Hulk Hogan. That was a whole other episode. Be sure to find that. You know what I'll do? I might even drop that link in the description for that show after we're done with this in case anybody watching on demand wants to watch that. But yeah, you know, 100%. People just, let's see. Mike said he's done for and he's doing damage control. Bye, Hogan. Let's see how the next 10 years are for you if you're still alive. Hogan will be 81, 82 in the next 10 years, right? And if Hogan has to say that he messed up, but you know what? It's been going on for too long. Does anybody even want the apology from Hogan? Does anybody even really care that, you know what, Hogan's going to come back right now and just say, you know what, my bad? Because even if Hogan came back right now and said, my bad, it might even feel disingenuous. It may even feel like it's not true. Because if it was true, Hogan would have said, you know what, my bad. But he's not saying that. He didn't say it back then. All Hogan did is he's gaslighting people and he's doubling down and making everybody believe in what's happening. What Hogan needs to do is step out of the spotlight and work from behind it. He needs to come out and just be, you know what? If Hogan comes on the show, I don't even want to put his name as Hulk Hogan. I want to put his name as Terry Bollea. Because Hogan is the man that I champion, and I know that Mike said that, you know, I got the slave mentality by, you know, giving racists their flowers. I'm not giving the man the flowers. I'm giving the wrestler the flowers. I'm acknowledging his contributions while saying that he's a real shitty person. I would want to put underneath the marquee to where it says the name, I want to put Terry Bollea because that's who I want to talk to. I don't want to talk to Hulk Hogan. I want to have a nice sit-down interview to where he's sitting in the privacy of his own house or wherever he wants to be that day. And I want to sit down in the privacy of my studio. And I want the entire world to watch as we talk about Hogan, as I talk to Hogan to see, you know what, do you apologize? And at the end of that, I might say, you know what, I will say, Hogan, thank you for your time. Hogan, all I need is 30 minutes of your time, if not less. Depends on how long you want to talk. I want a minimum of 30 minutes of your time. I don't think I'm asking for too much. Look, I want to ask you, I'm talking to you, whether you are watching live or on demand, what I want to know from you is if Hogan came on the Tristan Law Show and we had a one-on-one interview, right? And we called him Terry. I feel weird calling him Terry. You don't call wrestlers by their real name. But I sat down one-on-one with Terry and had a conversation with Terry about all the stuff that happened in his past. Would that be enough for you? I'll be honest. I don't know if it would be enough for me. I'm not doing it for clout. I wouldn't even put the subscribe thing up on the screen I wouldn't even put that up on the screen during the Hogan thing. I wouldn't even put up the subscriber goal on the thing. All it would be just about is just talking to Hogan or talking to Terry, right? Talking to Mr. T, Terry, and just seeing if he repents of anything in his life. Some people say that he's finished. Others say that the door is cracked. But here's the bottom line. Hogan needs to take some kind of accountability for what he did. He does. You can't just walk away scot-free and just pretend like everything is all right. Or trying to bamboozle him because you don't understand what went on. Because you know what? In the wise words of Hulk Hogan, that doesn't work for me, brother. Now again, this whole entire thing, it wasn't about Hulk Hogan. It was about in the ring. It was about who he was, who he is outside the ring, who you see him to be on the recordings, who you hear him to be when he does the interviews, when he talks about this whole entire thing. And the crowd's been telling Hogan the truth for years. Because we didn't talk about it in 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019 at WrestleMania 35. Doesn't mean that we're okay with it. But you know what? The receipts came back, and there's a lot of people that are like, yo, you know what, Hogan, we remember you. Remember you for what you did. But I just want anybody to watching this. I need you to understand that legends are not immune from growth or consequences. I want to thank you. I want to thank you so much for joining me today on the Tristan Law Show as we talked about Hogan. Has he redeemed himself? Let me know in the comments. If you think I did a great job today, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And you know what? Send this to a friend. Send this to somebody. Send this to Hulk Hogan. My name is Tristan Law. This is the Tristan Law Show. Make sure you check out another episode of the Pro Wrestling Scorecard, which is going to drop Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. I'm Tristan Law. It's the Tristan Law Show, and I'll see you next time.
Flashing red lights, driving at night, windowless ride, feeling alive.